This ugly, scratched old 50-cent coin from South Africa looks like it barely survived a junk drawer, but one sold for thousands of dollars, and most people would have tossed it aside without a second thought. Before you ignore that dirty ALS 50C piece in your change jar, you need to hear this: that scratched, dull-looking 2008 South Africa 50-cent coin with the tiny letters ALS might look like it belongs in a parking meter, but in the right condition, or with the right mistake, it can quietly be worth far more than 50 cents. And here's the part that surprises most collectors: the coins that look the worst are often the ones people never bother to check closely. The 2008 ALS 50-cent coin comes from South Africa's modern decimal series. On the surface, it's a common circulation coin. Nickel-plated steel. Standard design. Nothing flashy. Most people wouldn't give it a second glance. But seasoned collectors know something important: modern coins are full of overlooked varieties, mint errors, and low survival condition pieces that can turn pocket change into serious collector money. First, let's talk about those tiny letters, ALS. Many people assume it stands for something special about the coin's metal or location. In reality, ALS are the initials of the designer. They're small, easy to miss, and often worn down on circulated coins. That's why sharp, fully visible ALS initials can matter. If those letters are crisp and clear while the rest of the coin shows wear, that contrast can sometimes indicate a stronger strike, something collectors pay attention to. Now here's where things get interesting. Most 2008 50-cent coins were heavily circulated. South Africa had high coin usage at the time, and these coins were constantly moving through hands, vending machines, and tills. That means finding one today in truly uncirculated condition, no wear on the high points, strong detail on the coat of arms, clean fields with original mint luster, is much harder than people think. And condition is everything. A typical worn 2008 ALS 50C coin. It might only be worth face value or slightly above. But a mint state example graded MS 65 or higher can command a premium. Collectors pay for preservation. They pay for originality. They pay for coins that somehow escape the daily grind. But we're not done yet. There are also error coins hiding among these 2008 pieces, and this is where the real money can appear. Look closely at the rim. Is it fully formed and even all the way around? Off-center strikes can occur when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned during minting. Even a small off-center shift can increase value. A dramatic off-center strike. That's when collectors start bidding aggressively. Check the lettering and design details. Are any letters doubled? Do you see what looks like a shadow behind numbers in the date? True double dies are rare, but minor doubling or machine doubling still catches attention if it's strong enough. Another key thing to watch for is plating errors. Since the coin is nickel-plated steel, damage to the plating layer can sometimes reveal unusual textures or colors underneath. Most of the time, this is just environmental damage. But occasionally, you'll find improper plating from the mint, missing plating sections, bubbling, or peeling that happened during production. Those mint-caused flaws are far more collectible than post-mint damage. And here's something most people overlook: die cracks. Over time, minting dies develop small fractures. When that happens, raised lines appear on the coin where metal flowed into those cracks. On a 2008 50-cent ALS coin, raised lines across the design, especially through the coat of arms, can indicate a die crack variety. Minor cracks might not add much value. But large, dramatic ones absolutely can. Now imagine this. You're sorting through old coins. You find a 2008 ALS 50C that looks dark, maybe a little dirty. You almost toss it aside. But then you notice a bold raised line cutting across part of the design. Or the strike looks slightly off-center. Or the plating seems uneven in a way that doesn't look like ordinary wear. That's when you slow down. That's when you look closer. Because modern error coins are often discovered by regular people, not dealers, simply because dealers see thousands of coins and can't inspect every single one in microscopic detail. There's also another angle collectors love: low survival high-grade coins. Even if millions were minted, how many truly survived without scratches? Think about it. Steel core coins are magnets for nicks and contact marks. They scratch easily. They lose luster quickly. So a blazing, sharp 2008 ALS 50-cent coin with no bag mark stands out dramatically against the typical worn examples. And when something stands out, collectors compete. Auction platforms have shown that strong mint state modern African coins, especially graded examples, can sell for many times face value. Not because they're ancient. Not because they're silver. But because they're rare in top condition. Now let's talk about what not to do. If you think you found a promising example, do not clean it. Cleaning destroys collector value almost instantly. That dark tone or light dirt might actually protect the coin's surface. Once you scrub it, the hairline scratches become obvious under light, and serious buyers walk away. Instead, examine it under good lighting. Tilt it slowly. Look for original mint shine, that cartwheel effect where light rolls across the surface. Check the date carefully, 2008. Make sure the numbers are sharp. Inspect the ALS initials. Study the rim. Look for raised lines or irregularities that appear part of the metal itself. Another overlooked factor is proof coins. Some years, special proof versions were struck for collectors. These have mirror-like backgrounds and frosted designs. If you ever find a 2008 50-cent coin that looks unusually shiny with deep mirrored fields, you may be holding a proof issue rather than a circulation strike. Proofs typically command higher prices, especially if preserved properly. And remember this, rarity doesn't always mean low mintage. Sometimes rarity means low survival in high grade. Sometimes rarity means unusual mint error combinations. Sometimes rarity simply means most people never bother to save them. That's why ugly coins can be dangerous to ignore. The scratches distract you. The dullness makes you assume it's worthless. But underneath that rough appearance could be a scarce strike, a dramatic die crack, or a condition rarity that collectors are actively hunting. The key is patience. Collectors aged 50 to 75 often tell the same story. They remember using these coins daily. They remember seeing them everywhere. But very few set aside pristine examples. And decades later, that decision matters. Imagine pulling a near-perfect 2008 ALS 50-cent from an old jar and discovering it's worth $50, $100, or even several $100s in the right market. Not because it's ancient. Not because it's gold. But because it survived better than the rest. That's the magic of modern coin collecting. It rewards attention. It rewards curiosity. It rewards the person willing to look twice at something everyone else ignored. So tonight, when you're sorting through that change jar or old drawer, don't just glance at the 2008 South Africa 50-cent ALS coin and move on. Slow down. Inspect it carefully. Look at the strike. Look at the rim. Look at the initials. Look for anything unusual. Because the coin that looks the dirtiest might be the one that surprises you the most. Thanks for watching.